is the ribbon stacking tutorial. I promised this week, and it's something I still get asked. I have how to stack ribbon in a lot of my tutorials. You can find my tutorials in my playlists. To find my playlist, go over to my YouTube channel, hit playlist. Different playlists will pop up, like beginner tutorials. You click on that. I have numbered tutorials that you can look through from 1 through 6. And I also have an advanced tutorial. I also have advanced tutorials in another playlist right here. So that's how you find my tutorials. Hope that helps. Now, ribbon stacks can be used in so many builds. Staple stagger fuse Claptons, frame staples, Fralians. It's very important to know how to stack ribbon. That's why this video is important to get out there. Most importantly, have your ribbon straight. Water helps a lot. I forgot to put water in the things you need for this video. So remember, water helps so much. Hot glue helps a lot, though it's not needed. Other than that, I hope you enjoy the video. I hope it helps. Here we go. This is how I stack my ribbon all the time. Alright everybody, so in this video, this is the ribbon stack I'm going to be making. I'll have a loop for my swivel. The 0.1 ribbon, or the 0.4 ribbon will be sticking up on the 0.1 side. And it will only have binders and hot glue on both ends. This would be the drill end. And this is the exact stack I'll be making. So I've been having a lot of questions about stacking ribbon ever since I started this channel. And even though I have how to stack ribbon in lots of my tutorials, now I'm going to have a video with just the ribbon stacking. So I hope this helps. Let me show you the things you're going to need for this video. You're going to need your ribbon. I'm using 0.4 ribbon. Just about all ribbon is 0.4 by 0.1. So I'm using 0.4 ribbon. I think this is the best ribbon to start off using, even if you're a beginner. I'm going to be using some regular scissors to cut the ribbon. I'm going to be using 38 or 40 gauge scrap wire to wrap up the edges. And I'm going to be using some ceramic tweezers. Also some close cutters, a lighter, and some hot glue. If you have all that, you have everything you need to stack ribbon, but you also may want a swivel. I do use a swivel in this to hold the one end. Alright, so in this video I'm going to be using 0.4 ribbon. Ribbon is 0.4 by 0.1 millimeters. As I'm talking about it, I will be saying things like I'm going to squeeze the 0.1 side, or I'm going to squeeze the 0.4 side, and as a stack, this is what it should look like. If you were to zoom in on a piece of ribbon, this is what it would look like. So if I say I'm going to squeeze the 0.1 side, that would be me putting my thumb on top of the 0.1 side and the bottom and pushing them together, just so you know kind of what I'm talking about if you're not able to see what I'm doing. Most builds at the end of the day are going to end up just like this, where the 0.1 is going to be sticking up in the air. That's what you're going to see in the build. Alright, so first things first with doing ribbon stacks, you want to make sure that your ribbon's perfectly straight. Alright, you do not want to be messing with bent ribbon or ribbon that is curved in any way. So if it doesn't come off the spool straight, you're going to have to make it straight by straightening it. First, I'm going to get a piece of 38 gauge ready so I can bind this build together. So I'm just going to cut off like an 8-inch piece of 38 gauge. And I'm going to keep that to the side. Next, I'm going to be doing this ribbon stack with 8 pieces of ribbon, which is usually what I would put inside Fralians or staple stagger fuse Claptons, stuff like that. So I'm just going to pull the ribbon off the spool with my finger at first and see how well it comes off. So it's a little curved. You could actually work with that. Let's just say that you don't want to work with that, or if it was worse than this, I would grab the end with the needle noses and pull. You're going to feel a little stretch in the ribbon, and when you let go, it's going to be so much straighter. I like cutting ribbon off the spool with scissors. Now remember, whatever size ribbon you're going to need for your build, do 2 times the size, because we're going to be folding this in half, so it's going to be half the size at the end. So if I'm doing an 8-ply, I'm going to need 4 pieces of ribbon. Let's see how this one comes off without. See, there's like a little bend there. But when I take it with the needle noses and give it a little stretch, it straightens out. Now it's important to note that when you stretch ribbon or any kind of wire, it makes it thinner and it makes it a little longer. Right. Sometimes ribbon likes to come off the spool like this, and when it does that, it automatically bends your ribbon up a bit. So this is why it's good to know about the stretching. Now see how bad this is right here? Take it, give it that little stretch, and it's straight now. It's very, very important to have straight ribbon when you're building intricate builds and when you're making your ribbon stacks. You don't want to be in the middle of a build and your ribbon get all wonky because it had a bend in it. Sometimes when you stretch it, it may still be messed up and it'll be blatant. You will see it, and you might just want to get rid of that piece of ribbon, use it for wrapping other coils later or whatever. All right. Now, what I like to do is get my finger and kind of make all these ribbons together right here. Make them all the same length up at this point. Once I have them all together at this point, I'm going to kind of run them off my desk and pick them up. I just put it to the edge of my desk just so I could pick them up in my hands. All right, now I'm going to get them in my hands. I'm going to make sure that they're all stacked. Think of it just like a piece of paper. You want to make sure they're all the same size right here. Then I'm going to pinch with this. It doesn't matter how I'm holding it right here. Most likely, the 0.4 side is going to go flat in my fingers. So the 0.4 side is going to be flat in my fingers. When I pinch hard, it's not going to stand up. It's going to sit down. And then I'm going to run my fingers all the way down to this end. All right, so I got one side, one side. I'm going to grab this end. Now you see all these little bends in it and stuff. I'm going to cut it so that they're all the same size and make sure I cut all that wonky stuff off with my scissors. Now, all 4 pieces of my ribbon are the same size. All right. Now, I have them kind of fanned out here. All right, you see all 4 pieces are fanned out, and this would be the 0.4 side. I'm going to pinch on the 0.1 sides and push them all together, and that's going to stack it right here. And I'm just going to get these nice and stacked right here. All right, now we can see all 4 pieces of the 0.1 side there, and only 1 ribbon on the 0.4 side. Then I'm going to pinch it on the 0.4 side and hold it, just like that. And then I'm going to run my fingers down a couple times. This is going to introduce a stack. It's going to start introducing them wires. If any of them are twisted or anything, it's going to bring them together, put them on top of each other. And I'm just going to do this a couple times. Then I'm going to get some water. All right. I'm going to get some water, put it on my index finger, and rub it onto my thumb. And then I'm going to pinch on the 0.1 side. So I'm pinching it sideways. And I'm going to be getting that water in all them ribbons, and they're going to stick together. So it's not 4 pieces anymore, it's 1 piece. And then I'm going to run my fingers down to the other end. I'm going to bring both my hands together, put both ends in one hand, and then I'm going to come down here to this loop. I'm going to find the middle of this loop and pinch it on the 0.1 side. Keep them held together so that they stay in the stack. And I'm going to pull my hands away from each other so this makes a tight loop. So I'm still pinching the 0.1 side. Now I'm just going to remove my fingers so you can see kind of what's going on, but I normally wouldn't do this if I was just stacking it. But that stack is right there. That's the 0.1 side. That's the 0.4 side. You see how that's nice and flat? And you may be able to see lines in this side. Yep. It's going to be a little hard to see because it is small wire. So I'm going to go back and pinch that 0.1 side again. All right, now I'm going to bring the 2 sides together. So I got 1 side, 2 sides. The ribbons may start coming apart. That's okay. Don't worry about down here. Focus on up here. I'm going to bring these 2 sides together so that the inside of the 0.4 sides, the insides touch each other. I'm going to pinch it, and I'm going to make what we call the loop. All right, that's the loop. And I'm going to keep pinching the 0.1 side with my index and thumb and keep bringing together the 2 sides. Then I'm going to get them even closer together by kind of driving my nail into it. Now, once I got it where I want it, and the 0.1 side is sticking up, let me get the macro clip on. Once I have it like this, I want to wrap right where I drove my fingernail into. Right there. I want to wrap it with my 38 that I cut off. And that's going to be the start of really pulling this stack together. All right. So I'm going to pick up my 38 gauge, and I'm going to put my 38 gauge between my thumb and the ribbon stack. So I'm going to slide the end of the 38 between my thumb and the ribbon stack. Just like that, and pinch and hold it, and then just wrap it. Wrap it really tight, and you want to wrap it around 5 times first, right? 5 times. Then take some like ceramic tweezers or something and just pinch. Make sure that your stack's good. Pinch on that 0.1 side. You can even pinch on the 0.4 side. Make sure it's tight. But I like more the 0.1 side. All right. So I already did 5 wraps. Now I'm going to do another 5, so 10 altogether. Make sure it's good again. And after that 10, we could cut this off, this 38 gauge. All right. Now we're just going to work our way down. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch the 0.1 side still. I'm just going to keep this hand right up here. Then I'm going to do the running down again, introducing the sides of the ribbon with each other. I'm going to keep running my fingers down. I do this about 3 to 5 times. And then I'm going to get more water. Index, rub it together on my thumb, the 0.1 sides, and run my fingers down. And that's almost going to temporarily glue all these ribbons together. All right, then I'm going to rub my fingers down about 5 times. They're going to be introduced and kind of staying together. Then I'm going to pinch right here, hold it tight, and come down about a 1/2 inch. And I can let go of this hand. Now, if we are to look at it close up, it's stacked very nicely here. It's all nice and neat. My ribbons are looking good, nice and tight, all the way down to my thumb. So we know that this is stacked good, this whole 1/2 inch from here to here. So let's wrap right there. Oops. Let's wrap right there with some 38. So once again, 38, put it between my thumb and the stack, and pinch, and wrap it 5 times. You don't want to do this one too tight, because what's going to happen is we're going to slide it down to the other side. All right, so now it's on the stack, and we know that that's perfect. All right, so now we know that this wrap from there to the loop is good. Now, if we were to slide this all the way down, it would push our ribbons together the way they need to be and stay binded. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to pinch this end with this hand. We're going to pinch that slider, and little by little, we're going to slide it down. And this whole stack is going to go where it needs to be. And we're going to go all the way down to the end. Now you're going to see these ribbons come apart, and that's fine, because I know when I pull tight, it's good. So now let's look at this end where we have our slider. That's what it looks like. Now you see that 38 is pretty loose now that I slid it all the way down. So I'm going to tighten that up by putting more wraps in it. I'm going to stay pinching on the 0.1 side down here and put a couple more wraps in it to tighten it up. All right. And there you go. It's stacked from there to there. Now what I like to do is hot glue it to make sure it stays. And there's another little trick I like to do to make sure that it stays. So, all right, what I'm going to do is heat up some hot glue and dab it right over this 38 gauge right there. All right. Right below that loop. I'm just going to get a hot glue stick and a lighter, heat it up. And when it's hot, I'm going to dab it right over that 40 gauge on both sides. All right, now what I like to do is get this loop in my swivel set up so something's holding the ribbon. So this would be my swivel setup. I would put the loop through the hook. All right, now that it's in the swivel, I'm going to pull my ribbon tight, run my fingers down and make sure everything's nice and tight, every piece. And while I'm holding it tight, I heat up my hot glue stick. I kind of put my hot glue stick on the edge of my table, hit it with the lighter, heat it up, and dab right over this 38 gauge down here while I hold tight. Make sure you don't let go until the hot glue dries. Also, while it's drying, I like to take my tweezers and make sure that stack is nice and flat and everything's perfect. And I'm pulling away from the swivel with good tension as this is drying. I can even pull it with the tweezers and kind of just double check like this. And this is ensuring that the ribbon stack stays tight and stacked, and that when this goes into the drill and I'm pulling, whenever I'm fusing, whether I'm doing my frame staple, my staple stagger fuse Clapton, that all the ribbons collapse in just like this. You'll see when I let go, there's going to be like a bounce back, and the ribbons may separate, but that's okay, because when I fuse it, I'm going to be pulling it tight, and this is what I'm going to get. So this should be dry. It is. I can let go. And yeah, you see, the ribbons kind of come apart right here. That's okay, because when I pull tight, they all go back together. All right. And that's that. That is how I do all my ribbon stacks, whether you're using a drill and a swivel or a drill and no swivel. If you're just a freestyle builder, or if you're doing a braid or a helix, I do them all the same way. I hope this helped.